going for him tonight. But Andrew Teft looking like he's going to be your current points leader coming into tonight. He's got a nice solid 18-point lead over his brother Alex in second. I'm pretty sure my math is correct. I'm pretty sure that just by starting tonight, it looks like Andrew is probably going to lock up the points championship here for Racers Elite to finally break that curse, as he calls it, for the championships. So I think he's what was it, like 15-0 or 0 for 15 or something like that coming into this season. So looks like he's got a pretty solid wrap on the championship here in the Truck Series, with Alex being second right now. But that's going to be your battle tonight, is for second and third. It looks like with Alex Neff and Blair Holloman, only 4 points separating those two drivers coming into tonight for second and third. So both those guys are going to be battling pretty hard with each other to try to get that spot. And you can't count out Brandon Sanfilippo either. He's currently fourth in points, only 8 points back from Blair. So he is still much in contention for a podium for this championship.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And I got to tell you, that's going to be such a fantastic job by Andrew Teft tonight. And it's just like you said, I believe we interviewed Andrew last week here in the Truck Series, and he said, man, 15 opportunities. I have never brought home a championship, but you can see there on the screen, he has a pretty sizable lead here, about 18 points. I don't think, as long as he fires off here, Russ, I don't think he's going to have a problem with being able to capture the championship here in this Truck Series in Season 6. So it's going to be very interesting to talk to him, see how he feels tonight, see how this championship has worked out for him, as he has been dominant. And just like you said, I think earlier on in the series, man, he has really put his stamp on these short tracks in these trucks. That has been really his key to success so far this season.
Absolutely. I mean, what does he have? He's got 4 wins so far on the year, and I think 3 out of those 4 have been on short tracks. So absolutely showed himself as a short track dominator, as I've kind of dubbed him this season. So he's had an excellent season, well deserving of this championship. Here tonight.
Yeah, and as we look at some of these other drivers, I think there's been a lot of fantastic runs by a lot of these drivers as well. It's good to have, let's just look at Brandon Sanfilippo. It's really good to have him back as well. I think he has really brought a different element here to this Truck Series. That was great, and we know that Brandon Honeycutt, he missed one entire week. So that was the truck, the Xfinity, and the Next Gen. That obviously hurt him so far throughout this series, but it's great to have him. Blair is always a great one to interview, a really humble guy. And we could go down the road, like Alex Gates, he had that fantastic win there at Eldora. Philip Archibald's has some great runs. I mean, we could go right down the line. But like we always do, Russ, before we get rolling, we only have a couple of seconds left. We know who has really the lead in the series points. As long as he takes the green flag, he is going to win this series. But let's talk about tonight here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, Russ. Who do you feel like is going to be the driver that you're going to want to see capture this checker flag tonight?
We've kind of set it off and on all year long. You can't ever bet against Brandon Honeycutt at these, quote unquote super speedway races, if you will. Like I said, this track runs a lot like Daytona and Talladega. Drafting tracks Brandon is really, really good at. But I'm gonna go with a guy tonight that I haven't picked all year. You've picked him a couple of times, I think, this year, but I'm going to go with the number 32 of Blair Holloman. I think he's kind of been on just a little bit of a rough patch here the last couple of weeks, but I think tonight it's a super speedway. He might just break through and grab that checker flag tonight.
Ooh, I can tell you that is a spicy pick, because I can't tell you there is something that gentleman has never met, Russ, and that is a steering wheel that he did not want to turn, my friend. So that is a great pick. I will tell you, I'm just going to continue to stay fairly obstinate in this pick, because I do think that this gentleman has not ran a ton, but I think that not only does he have something to bring tonight, but he will have something to bring for next season coming up, and that is that driver that is going to start 11th on the field. That's your number 65 of Brandon Zimmerman. I think Brandon, I've seen him run before, really like the way that this driver runs his truck. I think he's great on and off of pit road, and I think that's going to be important tonight. So I think that driver is going to put him in a good position, not to play spoiler, because I think this thing is going to be all but wrapped up for Andrew Teff. However, I do feel like he is going to go out, leave it all on the line, and he's going to want to win.
That's a good pick. Like you said, we've seen Brandon run quite a few times. He's usually pretty solid whenever he runs. So yeah, that might not be a bad pick there, John.
All right, so let's go through this starting lineup as you have now. Brandon Sanfilippo is going to be your pole sitter with a 31.645. Brandon Honeycutt is going to be on his outside in second. Blair Holloman in third. Alex Gates is going to be in fourth. Philip Archibald in fifth. Andrew Teft is going to round out your top six. Truth Hoke's going to be in seventh. Trevor Woodward starting in eighth. Troy Thomas in ninth, and then Dunaway in 10th.
Then your pick, Brandon Zimmerman, is going to start 11th. Alex getting in just in the nick of time, right before qualifying started. Going to start P12, and then Rob Yost is going to round out the field starting in 13th.
So here we go. As you can see, a couple, and we're going to see if we can pop up your tower for you on the left-hand side. And again, it does look like, for some reason, SDK this entire playoff has had a little bit of trouble. So we're going to go up to your ticker, and then as we do that, we're going to just keep this battle box down here at the bottom right hand corner, Russ, where everybody can see where their favorite driver is and where they are to the truck in front of them and the truck behind them. So here we go, championship night. We are going to crown a champion tonight. As we see, Brandon Sanfilippo is going to bring them down to your checkered flag, Atlanta, lap 1 of 130 as we go green here.
Brandon getting a big shove down there on the bottom side from Blair on that start.
Blair's really wasted no time here, Russ, pushing on this 12 truck, getting behind him. He wants to pull out. Now, I can tell you, this Atlanta track, this is a drafting track. Getting hooked up early is going to be truly important as we go around 130 laps through Atlanta Motor Speedway. I can't tell you the other thing that they have to look out for, including Brandon Holloman at 32, is making sure he does not overheat that truck. As you can see now, Honeycutt starting to come back with Alex Gates there on the outside pushing him.
Yeah, that's one thing you got to watch as a driver at these drafting tracks is that engine temp. If your water temp gets too high and you blow the engine, we saw that with Brandon Honeycutt there. Well, I think it was last week. He blew it up coming to like 3 to go. So you definitely got to keep an eye on those temps throughout this race.
Yeah, you definitely do not want to overheat that truck, so staying tucked right underneath of that spoiler for those trucks will certainly cause that. So you want to keep that out, as now you can see this 12 truck being able to come out here, lead some laps. You know that fuel strategy has to come in play here, Russ. You only have 13 drivers starting this race. Now 14 drivers starting this race. So, you've got to make sure that you're playing a little bit of fuel strategy. This 12 and this 13 truck, they're the ones cutting the air. So they're the ones that are going to be burning the most fuel here as we get going in this race. So do you think that's going to play a factor? Do you think Blair in the 32, Alex in the 77, just sitting back, letting these guys cut the air, they're conserving fuel, kind of waiting around to see what's going to happen in this race?
Yeah, for sure. We saw it, last week, with Truth Hoke and I think it was the 60. They were out front for that almost that whole first stint. We saw them have to have to pit like 2 or 3 laps earlier than the rest of the guys behind them, because they're cutting through that air. They're burning up so much more fuel. Where if you're the second or third driver in line, you can conserve fuel. You're only running half to 3/4 throttle. You're able to save a little bit more fuel than those guys out front.
And my goodness, I heard you say a little something as Philip Archibald decides to come out of that turn and take that truck and get completely sideways. As now you can see him dipping below that red and white line through that tri-oval on the front stretch. So Phillip really struggling with the handling on that car. You can see Brandon, he's just really nailing that line. Sanfilippo there in the 12 below, really nailing that line. Great.
Yeah, that's one of the things about Atlanta here is Daytona. It seems like the top line is usually the most predominant, especially if they get kind of get linked up really well. But here in Atlanta, I've always found that the bottom line seems to be the most dominant most of the time. So probably not a bad idea for that 12 truck to be there on the bottom.
No, he's doing a fantastic job, and Blair as well, just pushing where he needs to. And again, it's so early on, Russ. You just want to make sure that you're settled into a good rhythm. You're in a good spot. As you can see, your points leader there, Andrew Teff, he's going to be that 98 truck. He is 30 line on that outside. And again, this is just about turning laps early on in this race, getting some green flag run underneath of your belt in these trucks, and then starting to play that fuel strategy when we get a little bit closer. I'm kind of surprised that Kinsley Smith is not out here, because you would think that he would be out here really pushing this 13 truck.
Yeah, we said it time and time again this year. Kinsley Smith that 15 and Brandon the 13, they work really, really well together on these drafting tracks. So yeah, for him to not be here tonight, it's kind of surprising. But it looks like Brandon's got himself some good help there behind him, pushing him to the lead right now on lap 9.
Yeah, Alex Gates really pushing that outside line, starting to move now in these trucks. A lot of the times in the Xfinity and the Cup car, that bottom line is pretty dominant here in Atlanta. But with these trucks and the draft that they have, that top line is certainly viable for them. And Honeycutt and Alex doing a really good job linking up, staying tight. Now, you can tell, Russ, they're really not side drafting each other. They're not hanging on the quarter panels, giving each other plenty of room. But I can tell you, when we start to get closer to the end of this 130-lap race tonight, they are going to get extremely close to each other, and you're going to start to see them play those mind games, those win games, if you will, as they start drawing people back. You can almost see Brandon Honeycutt starting to do that to Blair now.
Yeah, it just looked like he was just getting down there, just side draft a little bit, slow that bottom lane up, just to be able to keep that momentum, keep them up front so that they didn't get freight train towards the back there. But yeah, it's definitely a viable option up top. A lot of the races that I've seen, the bottom line seems to be the most dominant. But hey, if you can get a group of guys to link up really well on that outside and stay tucked up really good together, yeah, that top lane is just as viable as the bottom.
Let's talk about all of these drivers as we start to contemplate naming our champion this year. And as we talked about a little bit before, Russ, before the race started, really can't say enough about that 98 truck and what he was able to do this year. But we had Brandon Sanfilippo come in just a little bit, about 3 or 4 races in, come back to Racers Elite. He's really shown a lot of pace throughout this series, and he has been strong. I can't remember what race it was. It was about 3 races ago where I felt like he was the dominant truck out there. And he had I think it was a pit lane entry issue later on in the race, but he has really shown a ton of speed throughout this season.
Yeah, absolutely. Brandon he's been fairly consistent. I mean, throughout this season. I mean, he's currently sitting 4th in points right now, so you kind of got to be got to be consistent to be able to be 4th in points. But yeah, he's had some really strong runs, and just like everybody else, he saw his fair bit of misfortunes as well. But for the most part, yeah, Brandon's had a really solid season this year.
Yeah, and Honeycutt has as well. He has had his wins this year, as he does every year and every season. I do think that one week where he unfortunately could not race really hurt him in these championship battles throughout the Xfinity and really the next gen, as you think about that. But that driver has really put on a great show, been a great driver throughout Racers Elite. I can't think of a whole lot of races that Honeycutt hasn't been involved in. If he is able to run and he is out here, and it's just like we talk about with Racers Elite, we run every night. So we'll find a race somewhere every single night to be able to put drivers out here on these tracks, and Honeycutt is one of those guys. But he has done a great job throughout this season, just kind of nailing his spots. There are certain tracks, and we talk about him, calling him Horseshoe Honeycutt. But I will tell you, there's some skill involved in being in these races late in these drives. Saving those fast repairs to the end, and man, he is just time and time again impressive in those scenarios.
Yeah, absolutely. Brandon Honeycutt usually always one of the favorites to win if he shows up. I mean, he's very methodical in his driving. Good at saving tires, really good at fuel saving. He's got 3 wins this season. One of them being at Lime Rock there on the road course. So that showing, and that was a fairly dominant performance there at Lime Rock. So that just goes to show his skill level and his adjustability to go from ovals to road to dirt, whatever what have you. He's just one of those all around solid drivers that you can watch.
Yeah, and I can tell you that when you brought that up, I didn't think about that until you said it, but he has really helped. He has really grown in his road racing game. I really feel like what you said at Lime Rock, the Xfinity cars, the next gen cars, he has really put some effort in, and you can tell in some of those finishes. So as we go on the 77 truck in Alex Gates, picking up that win in Eldora. I don't know if a lot of drivers knew what to expect when they went into that dirt track. He and anytime you can pick up a win, especially on dirt, there is a ton of skill. Oh, as you see now, Curtis Ecker is going to get into the wall and he's going to get loose, and that's going to create the wreck.
Okay, they both saved it.
They both saved it. Alex Teft getting caught up in that. Curtis Ecker hitting the wall coming down. That is going to be detrimental to our points. I'm going to pop our points back up here because, as you can see, Alex Teft right now sitting second in points. However, he is only 4 points in front of Blair Holloman. Russ, this is a huge change of events, and we didn't really talk about this, but that battle for second is still waging on. Now Alex completely out of the draft, getting pulled back from the 8 truck.
Yeah, that right there could have point hurting consequences right there for Alex. I mean, if this thing goes green, he's gonna have to hope for some kind of a Hail Mary pit strategy or something. Not that I'm really expecting this to go green. I'm sure we'll probably see a flag of a certain color at least once during this race. But yeah, right now he's kind of got to settle in and hope for something to happen because yeah, only having a 4-point lead over Blair Holloman, who's currently running P4. Yeah, that's not a good sign for Alex.
Yeah, that is not very good at all. And those two drivers are teammates, so that is certainly not something that you wanted to see happen. As now when we go back, we're just going to keep walking back just a little bit to Sean Dunaway and Rob Yost Jr. So those drivers had to check up a little bit. I believe Sean is going to be able to stay connected, and he will be able to stay connected to this pack. But Rob Yost is going to be right on the fringe, and I believe he is going to be okay as well. But Trevor, it was Trevor that got loose there, the 6 truck.
Oh, yeah, Trevor Woodard.
Yeah, that was Trevor that got loose there and created that. So he has lost this pack now, along with Alex Teft. So those two drivers, your 11th and 12th place driver, way off of this additional pack here. So that has big time points implications for your second spot.
Yeah, like I said, Alex is going to have to hope for something to happen. I mean, if this thing stays green, he is really in danger of losing that second place position in points.
Wow, pretty big change of events, but we will kind of go back to talking about some of these drivers, Russ, as we wanted to highlight this 77 driver of Alex Gates. So we talked a little bit about what he was able to do there in the dirt at Eldora. He's come from the back to the front several times. I can see the progression in Alex, and I think that next season is only going to be better for him as he looks to branch out kind of past these dirt track wins and get some of these things at Atlanta, at Daytona, at your Iowas, even your short tracks. I believe you're going to see Alex start hunting some other wins next season.
Absolutely. I mean, he is probably one of what I would say would be one of the more improved drivers over the course of this season. That win at Eldora was big for him. Eldora being kind of like an equalizer track. Unless there was one specific driver in here who is a diehard dirt guy, Eldora really would have come down to whoever put in the most practice. So, if you put in a lot of practice, you definitely would have given yourself a shot to win that race. And, that's probably exactly what Alex did. He put in that time and got that victory. But yeah, I mean, easily probably one of the most improved drivers that I've seen so far this year. And he's definitely got an asphalt oval win coming here, I'm sure, soon.
I feel the exact same way. Now we're going to move on to Blair Holloman here, this 32 truck. And, we did not call last season, Russ, but I can tell you that, he posted 7 wins in this truck. Really easy to see how he did that. We talked to him a few times and he said, hey, all of the chips kind of fell where they needed to fall for me to pick up a lot of wins last season. This season, it's kind of been the opposite. I've struggled with the opportunity. But if there's one driver that I can tell you that, there's one thing, Russ, that I can think about this 32 that I see in a lot of drivers, but he is really pronounced in it, and that's that willingness to put that truck on the very edge every single race if it requires him to be competitive, and that's what a win requires. And he does that race in and race out, and it truly is something great to see when Blair Holloman puts that car on the edge, slings the rear end around on that car or that truck, and just really drives it with everything that he has. It's super entertaining to watch.
Absolutely. We've seen it many times again this year, where we're calling and we're talking and we can see him in the background just coming off a corner completely sideways. But it was all under control. Lime Rock, another good example of that. Every corner we saw him take at Lime Rock Park, he was sideways. I mean, definitely not afraid to put the truck on edge, which, they say loose is fast. So he's obviously not afraid to drive it loose, and has obviously been very successful. Like you said, he had 7 wins last year. And even he himself, I think either last week or the week prior, during his post-race interviews, kind of even talked about, to him this was kind of really like a lackluster style season. He wasn't able to execute a few times, and so it's kind of been one of those. Okay, I had a really high season last year, and now I'm kind of being humbled a little bit more this year. But yeah, I mean, definitely a strong driver, and definitely one to look out for next season.
Yeah, and I do, and he might start to branch out a little bit too into some of the other series, and we would love to see him take on the Xfinity car, take on the next gen car in a full season on purpose. I believe that would really benefit him and produce great TV. So now we're going to move over to your points leader here in Andrew Teft, and we said it a little bit earlier before this race even started, as we are now 32 laps into that 130. Andrew has, as we can see now, that Honeycutt's going to drop down a little bit and leave Alex Gates up there to the top to share that lead, as one is down the inside and one is on the low line. But, I can tell you that Andrew, to me, that's been his biggest movement so far this year, has been what he can do on short tracks. We always know that he can save tire. We know that he can save fuel. But really his short track prowess and the speed that he has shown, not only the long run speed as we talk about tire saving, but he has really developed some great short run speed too. Not only this truck, but in the Xfinity, in the next gen, really made some strides this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Like he's I kind of dubbed him the short track dominator, but he's won it. At the mile and a half, he's won at the 2 mile tracks. Um, he's definitely another one of those all around drivers like Brandon Honeycutt is. Because he runs all 3 series. He runs the trucks, he runs the Xfinity, he runs the Cup, and he's competitive in all 3. He's really figured out a way to be able to manage each one of these specific stock cars, and be competitive in all 3 series, just like Brandon Honeycutt. And it's really, it's good to see a driver like that is multifaceted. So yeah, and, and again, I haven't said it enough. Well, more than deserving of this championship this season. He's definitely earned it. So we see some pit stops happening now, John.
Yeah, it does look like everybody is diving in. Oh my goodness, as Honeycutt just making that shot underneath of Alex. Now he's going to back up just a little bit, let Alex get in here. And that's one of those things about Atlanta. Such a long pit road entry, and you got to stay below those yellow lines. And it does look like Honeycutt just sideways trying to get into that. It looks like the 12 truck was a little bit below him, a little fearful there with Honeycutt coming down. He was going to spin himself out on the nose of the 12. Everybody's in here safe. I think we're in good shape as some of these drivers are going to continue to stay out. Troy, Truth, Andrew, all of those drivers still staying out. So let's see if we can go to them really quick and see if they're going to try to come down pit road.
Say Alex or Andrew and Sean Dunaway are coming down pit road right now, but that's one of the things that makes this new reconfiguration of Atlanta so unique is your pit road commitment marker is on the backstretch into turn 3 entry, but your pit road speed cone isn't until you get to pit road. So we see them dive down there really quick and go real whip around that apron because they don't have to be down to pit road speed at that commitment cone point. They don't have to be down to pit road speed until they go to enter pit road. So a lot of these guys are able to still get around that apron fairly quick. But then they got to try to woe it up while being on the apron to make pit road speed makes them very, very loose.
Well, I will tell you, the person dusting everybody off of pit road is his 13 and Brandon Honeycutt. Now 1.4 seconds up to the duo of Brandon and Blair. Now Andrew's going to come out pretty quick too, along with Sean Dunaway and brother Alex. So Alex able to get this pit stop done and get himself tagged back on to this pack really helps him. So Roger Gates there in the chat saying, "Go Alex." And so fun to watch you guys. Well, Roger, we can tell you, Russ and I have had a blast calling this truck series, and we have one more in the Xfinity. We've had a blast there as well. Certainly appreciate everybody tuning in here to Racers Elite Network. And Russ, this not only has this been a super exciting series to call, but it was our first and has been our first series with Racers Elite. And man, we have had a blast watching these drivers run around these tracks.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a lot of fun week in and week out coming here watching these guys battle it out at Racers Elite. And yeah, I mean it's winding down, but man, we've had a lot of fun this year.
We really have. So let's continue to go through this field because as everybody cycles back out, and you can see there on the ticker, everybody's going to jump right back into this big old line of trucks, and they're going to quickly go side by side as now Honeycutt with a big run with him and the 12 behind him are going to push out here. As you can see, this is going to be a 2, 4, 6, 8, about an 8 truck breakaway from the other drivers. But let's talk a little bit about Sean Dunaway. And I'll tell you, one of the things that I've been impressed with this 01 truck, and not only here, but in the Xfinity, Sean runs his own race. And what I mean by that, Russ, is just watching him run, he never puts these vehicles, the truck or the Xfinity car, even the next gen, he never really puts these vehicles out of position or in a bad position. Very rarely do you see him crossed up, making some super ultra aggressive move that puts him out of contention. It is no wonder he's one of your higher IR rating guys in this league, Russ, because he just always seems to make the right decision all the time.
Yeah, I mean he's definitely fast fast, but he's also smooth and consistent. I mean, we've seen him get tied up in some other incidents, or incidents of other people's doings, but it's very, very rare that we see Sean be the cause of an incident. He's just like you said, he doesn't really put his vehicle in compromising positions. He tries his hardest to keep that truck as clean as possible, even though we have that fast repair. You don't really want to use it up. You really want to run these races from start to finish without having to use it. That's kind of your goal going in each and every week. And Sean's one of them guys that can very easily do that most of the time.
So Philip Archibald here in the 99 truck, and I would love to see Philip really expand with us, grow into the Xfinity, grow into the next gen. I think Philip is more of a comfort driver. I've really noticed if he gets himself into a position on a track where he feels ultra comfortable with the track, he runs really strong, really well. And so I think with Philip, it's just nailing each of these tracks as he starts to run them 2 to 3 times in one season, and then another time in another season, like we have for Homestead or some of these other tracks that will run pretty consistently. You're going to see him continue to compete further and further up the ladder, because those are the tracks that he becomes more and more comfortable with as these seasons go along.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if he's kind of another one of those. He just kind of runs his own race. But if he's comfortable, you're going to see him up there, kind of, running with everybody. And if he's not comfortable with the truck or not comfortable with the car, he's gonna kind of stay towards the back a little bit until he finds a comfortable way to run. But yeah, it's been really good to see him progress throughout the year too. He kind of put him up there as in, like with the Alex Gates. He's had a really good, solid, progressive season, and I can't wait to see what he can do next season.
All right, so speaking of Alex's, let's get back here to Teft. Because I feel like as we've watched all of these, Russ, and we went around to this series, the Xfinity series, even the Next Gen series, I will tell you that in sports, there's a lot of teams that they say, hey, they're hot at the right time. These are people you don't want to face. I think Alex Teft has really become that sort of driver for me, where if there's 10 laps to go, 15 laps to go, that 43 machine is not the driver you want to see beside of you or behind you with that amount of laps to go, because it just seems like when the lights come on, he really finds a switch, finds more speed out of these trucks. He kind of lulls you to sleep, and then all of a sudden, when it's go time and it's time to win, this 43 comes out of nowhere, and he is a rocket ship.
Yeah, he's one that I've kind of made as the like the Kevin Harvick of this truck series. Of where did he come from? Because it seems like a lot of these races, like you said, he's kind of in the back, kind of low. We don't really talk about him that much. But come the end of the race, he's up there fighting for a podium. So he kind of that, where did he come from at the end of the race? Definitely has the speed. Just kind of got to get that the start in the middle down a little bit. But he's been another one. Absolutely been great to watch his progression through this season as well.
Yeah, he really does fantastic, and it is really fun to watch him. When those green flag runs come, and it's just a short stint to the checkered, what he's able to do with the trucks and the cars. And that's in every discipline, not only the trucks, the Xfinity, the Next Gen. Alex just does a fantastic job with those. So let's go back here to Mr. Yost Jr. We haven't talked about him tonight. One, I think it's a fantastic paint job on this Toyota. I think he switched about halfway through the season, Russ, but great job by this driver. And I'm going to say the same thing. Really done great at Eldora. Thought he had a super fast truck. I feel the same way about him that I do the 99 truck, where I feel like Rob, if he gets into a comfort zone, can really, really turn some great laps. It's just getting himself comfortable at every track.
For sure. I mean, we saw, him up front. I don't know if it was last week or the week before. I can't remember, but he was out front leading a lot of that race. Was definitely in a really good comfort zone. He had a lot of pace in that truck. But ultimately he had like one little misstep, and ultimately, that kind of cost him. But yeah, I mean, if you just get that feel and get it figured out, yeah, he's going to be another one that I wouldn't be surprised to see in victory lane very soon.
Yeah, he needs some wins. He deserves a few wins. I agree. I thought he was the dominant truck last week. Getting caught up in some pit stuff. And sometimes, Russ, that's what gets into you. If you first learn how to compete, you first learn how to be in a pack, you first learn some speed. Then after that, your progression is, how do I turn some lap times out front? And there's a different point. If you get used to in a sim rig, in real life racing, you get used to seeing cars in front of you, then all of a sudden it's just open track and air. There's an eerie calm to it. And you have to start to understand how to run in front of people and how to lead. And I think Rob really did that last week. He spent a lot of time out front, understanding that calmness, understanding clean air and what the clean air will do to you, and turning some laps. So I think that was great for him. But the other part of that is you got to nail it all. If you're going to win in this league, you got to nail the pit stops. You got to nail the tire changes on and off of pit road. You got to nail all of those things. And I think that's the next great thing for Rob, is being able to nail those things next season.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, being a lot of people see iRacing as the video game. Oh, just jump in and play it like NASCAR Heat or NASCAR Thunder. But it really is like a whole progressive system. You've got to learn every little aspect of what it means to run a race on iRacing. And that's one of those key points is once you figure out one thing, now you move on to figuring something else out. And then you move on to figuring out something else. And
Hmm.
then ended up you tie it all together and you become John Ross.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you this. We're gonna highlight this driver in this 55 truck now, and then we'll get to Troy Thomas right after that. And I appreciate everybody hopping in and spending the time with us through this championship race. And I really feel like it's time for us to dive into each one of these drivers and talk to them. And so I can tell you that Truth. Man, what do you say about Truth this year? Not just here, but overall with Racers Elite. I wouldn't say that Truth has struggled, but Truth always seemed to get snake bit. And this year, for quite a few races, not only did he not get snake bit, but even I believe last week in the Next Gen series, picking up the win as the first and second place drivers get together, he's actually been on the receiving end of some great luck for him. And so Truth has always had the speed, but it's just like you said, all of those little things make a difference. All of those little things have cost Truth. I think this year they've helped him.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you know, we say he's been snake bitten, here or there, caught up in things not of his doing earlier on in the season. But, I say it week in and week out about Truth. Here in the trucks and the Xfinity is he's really come into his own in the latter half, latter part of the season. I mean, yeah, last week winning 2 out of 3 of Racers Elite's major series runs, winning the trucks or winning the Xfinity race, and then winning the Cup race the following night. He's picked up a couple of wins throughout each series so far this year, so he's definitely coming into his own in the latter stages of this year. And I really cannot wait to see what Truth brings out next season.
And he's
I think
prepared
that's
for
going to
that.
be a driver fighting for the championship.
I agree with you. He has championship capabilities in that truck. Not only in the truck, but in really the truck and the next gen car. I do think that in the Xfinity, he's got a little bit more growth there with that car as it tends to get tight over longer runs. And I think Truth really needs to buy into the entry of turns and nail the entry with the Xfinity and the next gen. The truck you can get away with it. The next gen you can get away with it because it can get loose on exit. The Xfinity you really can't get away with driving that car in so hard on entry that it doesn't cost you later on in the run. So I think there's a little growth there. But in this series and the next gen, he has to be a huge contender in these next seasons coming up for him. And picking up all of those wins that he has picked up this year. And I've talked to Truth quite a bit, and I really appreciate his dedication not only to Racers Elite but to really getting better in all of these disciplines, and it shows. And he's picked up several wins this year.
Absolutely. And he's always one of those. It's the emotional driver to see win. Like everybody's excited when Truth wins because it's everybody knows what kind of luck he's had in the past. But you know, yeah, like I said, him coming on so strong towards the end of this season in all three series. Yeah, I mean, I cannot take away to the fact of him potentially winning a championship in the trucks next year for sure.
All right, so let's move on to Troy Thomas. So Troy in this three machine, and he is normally three, no matter what series that you're watching here with Troy. You know, I think that in my opinion, personally, just running with Troy in the next gen, I feel like Troy is one of those drivers. He's the hardest driver for me to pass. Because I think that he understands his line really well, and he gives you a good battle, and not a battle where you say, "Man, Troy blocks a lot," but a good battle where Troy knows how to run a line, he knows how to find speed, and he's really good on the exit of turns. And I think if he ever really starts to nail what it takes to get a right front on a truck, Xfinity, and a next gen to work, I think he's going to be dangerously fast. We saw him with a great run at the fairgrounds in the Xfinity car. And we've seen him with some great runs here, and even the Xfinity series or the next gen, he's had some good runs. But if he can figure out what a right front does on entry of a turn, because he's so good on exit, so good on holding a line, this driver is going to rattle off some top fives pretty easily.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, we've watched him pretty much throughout this whole year too, as being one of those ones that has kind of really progressed. And like you said, he had that really good run there at the fairgrounds in the Xfinity, fighting for a win at that race. Like you said, if he can figure out that entry, he has that strong corner exit. If you can figure that entry out and kind of put it all together, yeah, he's going to be another one you're going to see up there fighting for wins on a regular basis.
So there is your walk through the field, folks. We certainly appreciate everybody joining in here on Championship Night at Atlanta. This is a great opportunity for us to talk about each one of these drivers, what we know personally, what we have seen out here on the track, as this is a plate track for these trucks, and they are 2x2 going all the way through this. We are now 68 laps into the 130. You do have Sanfilippo and Honeycutt hooked up on the bottom line. The two Teff brothers, which looks like now, oh, Alex is going to get into the wall. That is going to open up this top lane and put Andrew way behind as the Teff brothers are hooked up on the outside line. So this is a great opportunity for us to go through not only this season, but what we can expect on this next season. So what I want to do now, Russ, is I want to walk us through a little bit of what we can expect next season and what those schedules are going to be here in the Truck Series. And for anybody that is listening there on YouTube, Facebook, on Twitch, if you want to get involved in Racers Elite and get out here and run with some of these drivers, make sure that you reach out to Andrew Teft. We can see him there in the 98 truck. You can do that through Facebook. You can do it through our website at racerselite.com. You can even send us some messages here in YouTube. We'd be happy to get you in with Andrew and get you started. But Russ, next season, as we walk through this series, I'm going to throw some tracks out to you. We're going to start there at Talladega, as now we're going to see a couple of drivers coming down pit road. And let's cover this pit road stop here now, as the 12 and the 13 both coming in. Going to come in together as a duo. Do you take tires here, Russ, or is this just a gas and go?
That's gonna be kind of dependent on what I did my first stop. If I took tires my first stop, it's just gas and go. If I didn't, I might think about it. This track runs just a little bit different than Daytona does. Daytona and Talladega does. You do burn up some tire a little bit, but um, obviously you get better tires out of Daytona and Talladega. You don't really need to change tires there, but yeah, I think it would be all dependent on as a driver what I did my first stop.
Yeah, it does look like both of these drivers are going to take all four tires. They're going to get some fuel and get down and out pretty quickly as we see another driver coming down pit road now. And that's going to be Blair Holloman. But here is the problem. Russ, he is going to come down solo. He does not have a driver to help him tonight. So he is going to get, it looks like he's going to get right size changed. He's going to come back out, but he could be just stuck in no man's land as now every one of your other drivers are going to start coming down pit lane. We kind of have a deeper pit lane camera angle. As you can see, Sean Dunaway is going to lead this team of him and Andrew Teft and Philip Archibald, Rob Yost, Troy Thomas, all of these drivers coming in to get their service now.
Yeah, I think the hope for Blair is that he can get back out there and catch that duo of Brandon and Brandon and kind of tag on to them and hope that they can catch the rest of these guys when they come out.
Well, now he was able to get ahead of those two drivers. Now they are hooked up. Blair is about 2.5 seconds in front of them. But what we're going to see here is, can Blair beat this 01 machine? Yes, and you can see he is fully up to speed. This might shake up our entire pack. Blair really quick on and off, and it does look like the two Brandons hooked up together, the 12 and 13, they're going to blow right by Sean Dunaway. We could start to see a little bit of separation here, Russ, as if the two Brandons are able to catch up to Blair. That might create a 3-truck breakaway here.
Yeah, we're seeing Blair out there by himself. He's going to go high and let them two go by and try to squeeze in right behind him and pick up on that draft. But then you've got Sean Dunaway all by himself. Then you've got Andrew Teft and Rob Yost, two truck tandem. You go back a little bit further and you got one, and you go back a little further and you got one. So they definitely spaced themselves out.
Yeah, this is going to be pretty interesting to see. I do believe Alex Teft is going to be able to snag on to the back of this. Even Philip Archibald, the 99. That is going to create about a 4-truck tandem that will be able to run Sean Dunaway down pretty quickly. But the big thing is going to be, can these 3 trucks here find a way to break away? I don't think, Russ, they're going to be able to do it because it doesn't look like Sean's about 1.1 seconds behind him. I think in that 1 second realm, he's going to be able to catch on to this draft. And now he is less than a second. So I think he's going to be able to snag on. I do believe we are going to be right back to this big pack racing here with about 76 laps into this 130 finished.
Yeah, Andrew and Rob looks like they are catching up to Sean fairly quickly. So if anything, they'll be able to push him, and three should be able to get back up there to the other 3 out front. And Alex is kind of hoping to catch onto the coattail there and get himself up there as well.
Yeah, I think they're going to all be able to do that. That's going to put everybody back. Now, Alex has a little bit of danger. He's about 0.6 of a second behind and losing pretty rapidly. Now, Philip is right behind Alex, so that might help him just a little bit. But this pack of 2 with Rob Yost right behind has been able to catch up to this front pack. So now it looks like Alex Teft about 0.8 of a second behind. They might be able to catch up as well, as Rob Yost is going to go to the outside. Julia there in chat is rooting on Alex. So, Julia, glad to have you yet again. You have shown up every single week. We certainly appreciate you coming out.
I was wondering where Julia was.
Yeah, Julia likes to just throw it out there every now and again just to let everybody know that Alex Teft is her baby, and here he is running on this outside, keeping himself in this battle. Now, I will tell you, Alex is a lap down. Alex got drugged down to the infield, Julie, if you're just now joining us. A little bit earlier in this race, that's going to created an issue, and he lost that draft to put himself a lap down. But he is certainly fighting to stay on this lead lap. As you can see now, Troy Thomas getting past here 3 wide with these trucks. And now it does look like the 55 of Truth tagging onto the back end is going to be a lap down. So there's going to be a small little fight inside of this fight to be the first driver a lap down.
Yeah, all these guys bunch right back up, and we saw, like you said, Troy going a lap down. He's gonna tag on to the back end of this, and yeah, a fight within a fight. First truck a lap down, potentially get that lucky dog should a flag of a certain color come out.
Your top 7 now on the lead lap. Everybody else is going to be at least 1 lap down. But it does look like if there is a caution, Alex is in the really good position here, being the first truck a lap down, so he would be able to get that lucky dog. I'm certain everybody else would take the wave around. But let's continue to go through this schedule, Russ, because I wanted to get your opinion on this for this next season that will be starting just in a few weeks here. We are fired back up April the 15th in this truck series. We're going to start at Talladega. Then we're going to Five Flags, Vegas, Pocono, and Phoenix. So as we look at those first 5 races, what stands out to me is Five Flags. Five Flags is going to be similar to the fairgrounds for the Xfinity Series, similar to Eldora for the trucks. It's a little outside of everybody's comfort zone. That really is the one I want to circle in these first 5 races to say, put some time in, get yourself ready. That one's going to be a wild one.
Yeah, absolutely. Five Flags is kind of one of those tracks that it's a short track and it's banked. It's kind of like a miniature Bristol, if I could say a miniature Bristol, because Bristol's a half mile as it is. But it kind of reminds me of a Bristol, but um, not quite as chaotic as Bristol can get, if you will. But yeah, I mean, for sure, it's definitely going to be one of those tracks that you're really not used to seeing these trucks run on. So any kind of a track that's like that, that's out of schedule, that you normally wouldn't see out of schedule, is definitely one you got to throw that flag up and say, I need to put some time into here, and because this may be one of my opportunities to steal a win.
Yeah, absolutely. And so once we look at those first 5, obviously that Talladega, we're not 100% certain. That's always a crapshoot, kind of like Atlanta that we are seeing tonight. It is a plate track, what we consider to be an old school plate track, wide open, bump drafting. You just never know what's going to happen. As now you can see the 2 Brandons really starting to hook up together. They're finding a little bit of draft partnership here. Both of them without draft partners, finding each other a little bit through, kind of 3/4 of the way through this race, starting to push pretty hard. And when you do that, you're going to start to see all of these trucks behind them tighten up a little bit, because if they do not, there's going to be a breakaway here between the 12 and the 13 that's going to be hard to beat if they stay hooked up like that. So, but as we walk through the next 4 races for that schedule in season 7, is going to be Mid-Ohio at a road course, NHMS, Daytona, and Indy. And really, I kind of consider Daytona and Indy in the trucks as a draft tracks. Obviously Daytona, Indy will be too for the trucks. It's really going to be New Hampshire and Mid-Ohio that is going to. So if you look at this, Russ, we've got Five Flags, Mid-Ohio, New Hampshire. If you look at those 3 tracks, if I am running in the trucks, those are the 3 I circle to say I've got to be good at those.
Yeah, for sure, especially Mid Ohio. I mean, with that being the road course, you've almost got to bet that Brandon Honeycutt is going to be one of the favorites to win that race. We've seen what he could do in a truck on a road course this season. So you definitely want to put the time into Mid Ohio. It's a little bit of a more technical road course as opposed to what what Lime Rock Park was. Um, but you definitely want to make sure you put time into Mid Ohio. Five Flags in New Hampshire. Yeah, I agree. I mean, New Hampshire. That 1 mile, double Martinsville as I call it, because it's that 1 mile short, flat track. Really loose on corner exit. Um, tight on entry a little bit. So you definitely put your time into those 3 tracks for sure.
All right, so that is going to get us to the playoffs. So playoffs for the trucks are going to start on June the 17th. And then we're going to get over to a really amazing 4-race schedule. And I feel like in season 7 in the trucks, this 4 races for the chase are the 4 best tracks that I believe I have seen so far through Racers Elite to crown a champion. And that's going to be Homestead. Then you're going to go to Bristol, North Wilkesboro. So you're going to have 2 short tracks back to back, but they're going to be completely different type of short tracks. Then you're going to finish there in Michigan. So Russ, what are your thoughts for those 4 tracks?
Hate it, and it's okay. I never run well at Homestead. I don't know what it is about Homestead. I mean, it's a big, wide 1.5 mile track. Just for some reason, I've never figured Homestead out. I know that's your bread and butter. That's your go-to track. One of them. Bristol is just kind of chaos all the time. We know what short track racing is like at Bristol. North Wilkesboro, kind of a totally different animal as the short track opposed to Bristol. It's kind of flatter. It's kind of oddly shaped, even though it is a oval. It's kind of got an odd shape to it. But then Michigan, that big 2 mile D-shaped oval. Another drafting track for these trucks. Probably is going to be a good race to just to settle the championship at.
Yeah, and it's so odd in the trucks because I do believe that Bristol runs a lot better in the trucks than it does in any other, the Xfinity or the Next Gen. And I do think that it has something to do a little bit with the power and the horsepower here in the trucks. You can run that top line very, very successfully at Bristol and really make up a lot of time and save some tire. Sometimes that becomes the preferred line at Bristol. So I think this is going to be interesting. North Wilkesboro is a tough technical track. So I really think that Andrew's put a ton of thought into this schedule. I really like that schedule. Now I'm going to look at the back of this 13, Russ. He's got a little bit of damage there on that right rear. I'm not sure if that was from a push a little bit earlier on. I don't think it's hurting him as long as he is behind Brandon. But if he is out on his own and he's in front of that 12 truck, that could cause a little bit of trouble for Brandon Honeycutt.
Yeah, if he gets out in front, San Filippo's back there pushing him, and if he's got just a little bit of damage, it could make that contact not quite so square and get Brandon really, really loose. But I agree. I think as long as he stays behind the 12 aerodynamically, I think he's perfectly fine.
Troy Thomas, your other driver, a lap down now on the outside, being pushed by another driver a lap down in Alex Teff. So what's happening here as we reset this? We've talked about each one of these drivers. We talked about the schedule. We're going to get back to the race here in Atlanta because it looks like now you've got this inside line of everyone that's on the lead lap. And that's the 12, the 13, the 01. Andrew Teff's there. Yost is there. Everybody on the lead lap there. At the bottom of the track, your 2 drivers that are 1 lap down, and that is Troy Thomas and Alex Teff. Both of those drivers are on the outside trying to get their lap back the old-fashioned way. Alex Teff, or Alex Gates now, catching another lap down as he is in the wall here. Alex has fallen off. I think he had a little bit of pit road issue, but he has fallen off of this pace. He'll be able to tag on to the back. But this is really your race inside of a race. The 12 truck, the 13 truck, the 01, and the 98, all 4 of those trucks stacked 1 through 4 in the standings.
Yeah, it's definitely a fight within a fight, like you said. It's going to be interesting to see. Closing in on the last 30 laps of this thing. Not sure. I think we might still have one more pit stop left to go.
We do, yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying so. We'll see how that shakes out, and it's going to be an interesting final 30 laps here.
Brandon Sanfilippo in the 12 and Brandon Honeycutt in the 13 had a really great pit stop. They were able to duo that thing down the pit lane, come out and be in a really good position. I think Sean Dunaway did a fantastic job on and off pit road as well. He got gobbled up by this duo, but if he can come in with those other two trucks, I think it's only going to make that duo become a triple much, much stronger. But really, you got to look at the 98 truck. And honestly, I feel like Russ, he doesn't really care. As long as he keeps this thing running, he winds up on this lead lap. He's capturing this championship, and that has to be the goal for that 98 tonight.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, don't worry about where you finish. Just make sure you finish. You know, got this thing wrapped up, and yeah, that's the most important thing. Bring the truck home in one piece and grab this championship.
Yet, as we look at this thing, we have 29 more laps left in Season 6, Russ. And I want to thank you really for being involved in this. You know, being my second here in the booth, it has been a blast to be on Racers Elite Network and watch these drivers really put on a heck of a show. And we can go back through all of these great races that we've had in these trucks. We've had some dominant performances, and then we've had some of those races that right toward the end, you just had no idea what was going to happen. And the growth of these drivers have been amazing. The interviews have been amazing. Man, I can't tell you just how great it's been to be a part of this thing all season long.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, my feelings are reciprocated. You know, it's been a lot of fun. You know, I'm not, I never really thought I would be one to get into doing broadcasting, but you know, you talked me into coming in and helping you out, and it's been a lot of fun. You know, you and I are friends outside of this. You know, we race together, and you know, we're on a team together, and it's just it's been a lot of fun just coming in here and you know, shooting the ball and talking racing with you, and you know, watching these guys all season long put on some great races. Like you said, you know, some of them have been total domination, and others have been total last lap coming to the to the checkered flag. You know, not knowing who's going to win this thing. So it's been a lot of fun. It's been really, really entertaining to watch these guys. And you know, just to disclose a little something, you know, I'm going to be joining these guys next season. I'm not going to be up here broadcasting. I'm going to be jumping into the trucks next year and getting my butt kicked by these guys that we get the pleasure of calling every week. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to seeing how you're going to be able to really navigate through this as, you know, really when you're able to sit back and look at this from a broadcaster standpoint and the quality of craftsmanship here is that now you can see Honeycutt and Sanfilippo, they're going to come down and they're going to stick
Together
as a
again.
duo here, Russ.
Probably not a bad idea. You know, they've been working really, really well together all race. You know, like we said, don't really have a drafting partner. So, you know, at these drafting tracks, you know, we said it time and time again, just like Daryl Waltrip always says, co-opetition, your friends are where you can find them. So apparently Honeycutt and San Filippo have found that they work really well together. So why ruin a good thing here with 25 laps to go? Might as well continue to work together to the end of it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more because, you know, if you don't have a teammate out there on the track, you know, find somebody that's willing to be your teammate today. And I'm a little curious as to why Sean Dunaway decided not to come in there with them, because for a driver that's really fighting for second place there in points, I probably would have tried to do something outside of what Andrew and Alex are going to do, because you know they're going to try to work together. But here we go, as everyone else looks like, except for about 3 trucks, are going to come in and get this final pit stop done here with about 23 laps to go when they cross the start-finish line.
Yeah, from a points aspect, you know, like we were talking about, you know, he's kind of in a little bit of a points battle. Every point counts. So, you know, him staying out after Brandon and you know, Brandon Honeycutt, Brandon Sanfilippo come down pit road, get that bonus point for leading the lap. So every point counts.
Yeah, that's a great point. I didn't even think about that, but he was able to pick that up. Now we're going to see these two drivers already connected here, Russ. So they went into the pits together, come out together. They found themselves about halfway through this race, nose to tail. They're still sticking with that as we come around. I'm going to be very interested. We're just going to follow them. Everyone else is coming out of the pits, but they're not going to be up to speed in these trucks. These two drivers will. So I guess the question is, one, can they get out ahead? And two, how far ahead is ahead enough where it could just be a two-driver race here at the end?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you can see them guys coming out of the pits now, coming out onto the backstretch, and Brandon and Brandon are powering up that outside. So they're going to get out there, but I don't know if they're going to be able to get out front quite far enough to be able to just make it between the two of them. I have a feeling that they're going to have to. They're going to have some other guys to deal with.
Yeah, I completely agree with you because it looks like they're going to be able to pick up Sean Dunaway here as Sean once again was able to get in and out of the pits faster than the drivers behind him. But I really believe that even with that thought process, he's going to be able to tuck in behind. But we're going to be right back to a 7-8 truck pack here as we have 21 laps to go crossing the start finish line for your season 6, where we're not only going to crown a champion, but we're going to try to crown a race winner here at Atlanta.
It'll be fun coming to 20 to go, and yeah, this is where the excitement begins. There's that last pit stop is done. There's no holding back now. It's time to go.
Yeah, there really isn't. Now, all these drivers, just to reset for everyone, will still have a fast repair if things get a little spicy later on. It does look like Honeycutt pushed up. That opened the door to Sean Dunaway. We're going to start calling this thing extremely tight here. 20 laps to go. Brandon is going to get shuffled back. If Blair can stick to the bottom of Andrew along with Rob Yost, Brandon is going to get really pushed back here to about 6th or 7th in this line.
Yeah, that's not something that Dan Filippo wanted to see, that's for sure. I mean, he's going to have the help of Sean on that bottom, but he's not going to have that teammate per se that he can really count on like Brandon Honeycutt. But Brandon Honeycutt's not going anywhere. He's sticking tough there on that outside.
Not only is he doing that, but now the 77 of Alex Gates is going to join him, start to give him a little bit of push. That's going to help that outside line start to move just a little bit. Now, Honeycutt still with that damage on the right rear quarter panel that you can see there on screen. You can see that caved in on that brake light sticker that he has on that truck. But that seems to not hurt him in this draft, as now these two drivers going to start pulling back here on the outside.
Yeah, going to be, got a little help there from Alex. And, working his way right back up. And now is where we're going to see the implementation of that side draft. We're going to see that a lot more here with anybody that's going to jump up to that outside line. You're going to see Brandon coming right down. You see it right now. Kind of coming down on Sean just a little bit there. Get that side draft. Slow that inside up. Keep the momentum on that top side going.
Yeah, and as you can see now, 17 laps to go. These drivers have been sitting back all race long, just picking their way through pit stops one after the other. But now they're going to start shoving just a little bit, start side drafting just a little bit, like you mentioned there, Russ, because they're going to start clawing for every single square yard that they can get of asphalt between them and the cars around them. Honeycutt and Alex Gates still strong on that outside. I don't think that's going to have the momentum to get this done unless you have a third truck to join them.
Yeah, I mean, if I was Rob Yost, maybe consider jumping up there if you get up back on that bumper of Blair Holloman. Because you get 3 on 4, you got a lot better of a shot of being able to make a move up there. Where 2 on 5, you may hold on, but I don't think the momentum is going to be enough to make a pass.
Yeah, so I do want to give you just a little bit of an update here, Russ, as we go back to those drivers. There's about a 4 truck pack. Alex is starting to fall off of the back end of this 3 truck pack, but now Philip Archibald, they're in 99. He is ahead of those 2 drivers by laps. He is a lap ahead. He is in 7th. So Truth and Troy leading this charge, Philip staying back here, but they have missed this front draft by about 7 seconds. So Yost is on the back end of this. He is 7 seconds ahead of that pack. So if something drastic, if there's not a caution, this will be your pack to the end of this race.
Yeah, The gap is just too big. The momentum is too little. So definitely the race is right here in this top seven trucks.
Honeycutt on the outside, one of your more dominant drivers. If we looked at average finishes at plate races, we can consider this a plate race here at Atlanta, the new Atlanta. The old Atlanta would not be considered a plate track, but you can hear Brandon Honeycutt now. There is no lift in this truck driver as he is trying to scratch and claw for every square inch that he can get of this truck in front of his teammate. We're going to call him a teammate, Russ, for tonight in that 12 truck. It just looks like that bottom line is just a little bit more organized right now and pushing a little better than what this top line is.
Yeah, for sure. And then they've got that momentum of more trucks. You see, Brandon really working that side draft, really trying to slow that bottom lane down just a little bit to keep that keep some sort of momentum up there on that outside so that they don't fall all the way to the back. He really is one of those drivers, like we've said. He manages his tires, manages his fuel, but he's a thinker. He's always on his toes, trying to figure out how I can be at the front. And right now, it's side drafting. So, and Brandon's probably one of the best that I've seen with the abilities to do that.
Yeah, and I think it'll get really, really spicy here with about 10 to go. But, we can look back here. Third in line at that bottom line is going to be the 98 of Andrew Teff. That is your points leader. And I would say this thing is all but done for this 98. He will bring home his very first championship, not only as the owner here of Racers Elite, but as he said, out of 15 tries. This driver is going to bring home this championship in that 98 truck. Now, he still has a fighting chance here in the Xfinity Series that we're going to call tomorrow. Extremely tight race. Really interested to see how that is going to go down, and we will be right back here with that. But and also on that next gen. So really great performances this year, but we still have a little bit of work to do as we're going to come to 9 to go. Brandon Sanfilippo really wanted to put his mark and get himself prepared for this next season.
Yeah, Andrew, leading the truck points, he's going to win the championship here. But like you said, the Xfinity Series, he's in a little bit of a tighter battle there. He had an 18-point lead coming into tonight, the Truck Series. But tomorrow night, they're going to be going to Kansas, I believe it is, and he's only going in there with a 2-point advantage over Truth Hoke for that championship. And then Cody Bonelli, he's only 13 points out. So, there's a really, really tight battle for the championship there in the Xfinity Series. So, I'm sure Andrew wants to go to take that 0 for 15 and go 2 for 17, and win back to back there. But, I don't think you can count them out even in the next gen series on Wednesday nights.
Yeah, and so a gentleman going 0 for 15 might have a chance to be a clean sweep so far for this season, but we still have some work to do here, as not only we're going to crown a champion tonight, but we're also going to crown a winner. So as we look 6 laps to go, you have a group of 2, 4, 6, about 8 trucks that are going to be in this group, 7 trucks in this group. That 77 is a lap down, really does not have a dog in this fight outside of pushing Brandon Honeycutt as hard as he can. Remember now, we do have these trucks, you can see them pull back a little bit on the back bumper, and that's because they're getting hot. They want to make sure they're not going to blow up. A blown engine right now would be a killer for all of these drivers. But let's take a look at what we have for second position in these standings, as it does seem to me that this 01 of Sean Dunaway is going to be able to get this second place done, as we show Alex Teft here in 8th.
Yeah, it was a really tight battle there for second, but Sean has ran a great race. Alex has had a couple of problems here and there throughout the race, and sometimes that's really all you need. And it looks like it's definitely going Sean's way, and we'll have to see how it plays out at the end of this. It's still 5 laps to go, so it ain't over until that checker flag flies. But right now, yeah, looks like Sean is sitting in the catbird seat for for second place.
Andrew getting a little spicy here. As you can see, he kind of grabbed onto the left rear quarter panel there of the 77 of Alex Gates. And it does look like they're going to start pushing a little bit now. Sean Dunaway deciding that he doesn't want to just sit back here, Russ, finish second, get second in the points. He wants to get a win here for this season, as he's going to go to the outside and now probably has the best pusher in the business with 3 laps to go on his back bumper. Alex Gates tied to him too. This top line now starting to form up and push toward the lead.
Yeah, 3 laps to go, and this is where the excitement begins. I mean, this is where guys start making their moves. You see him, you see Sean jump up there in front of Brandon Honeycutt. He knows Brandon is one of the best pushers at draft tracks in this game. I mean, we go to Talladega in a couple of weeks. My first race was racing the lead in the Truck Series. I want Brandon Honeycutt on my bumper, pushing me in that race for sure.
Oh,
but, right now it's 2 laps to go. It's going to get dicey here.
Yeah, Sanfilippo just putting in a fantastic move, kind of double dipping there on the 01, where he kind of turned left a little bit and then moved right really quickly. Now he's going to put himself in front of Brandon Honeycutt, as Sean Dunaway was trying to close and control both of those lanes. He wasn't able to do it. Now your leader that has led the most laps tonight is going to be on this outside. Andrew Teff pushing the 01 here at the bottom. We are now white flag to go.
1 lap to go to determine a champion here for the Racers Elite Truck Series. It's about to be a barn burner.
Sean Dunaway on your bottom, Brandon Sanfilippo on the top. Both of these drivers extremely hungry. Now the 12 truck is going to dip down, try to get a block. Oh, Brandon Honeycutt's going to get a little loose. That's going to stop that top line. This is going to be all over for your 12 truck.
Then you can start coming across the line.
The 12 truck picking up a fantastic win tonight. Sean Dunaway coming home in second. He will grab your second place in points. My goodness, Brandon Honeycutt's going to come home in third, and your 4th place finisher and your champion in the Truck Series Season 6 is going to be Andrew Teff. What a fantastic finish. Little bit of a move. Honeycutt got a little loose there on the entry to 3, backed that top line up, and really gave that 12 truck exactly what he needed there to get to the start finish line and get that checker flag.
Yeah, absolutely. And just got to make a little bit of a correction. It wasn't Sean going for second. It was Blair. So yeah, we're gonna have to see how that one plays out.
Oh, okay.
Blair
points.
Holloman was fighting with Alex, not Sean.
I see. So Blair Holloman is going to pick up 6th spot. Alex Teff is going to pick up 8th. So Julia, there in the chat, that's only 2 spots. We'll have to see if it plays out from whoever led a lap. But I do believe that
Alex might hold on to it.
I believe Alex is going to hold on to second position. So I do apologize. That was not Dunaway. That was going to be Blair Holloman going for second. So Alex Teff is going to be your second place in your championship points in season 6.
Yeah, great. He had himself plenty of misfortunes, tonight, but staying in the race was the biggest thing. I mean, Blair obviously not having the strongest truck tonight, finishing in 6th, but that's only 2 spots of where Alex was still able to finish his race. So, staying in it till the end is what it's all about, and about 95% sure that that's going to pay off for Alex, and I think he's still going to get that second place.
Yeah, we're going to pop up your points just one more time so that everybody can see it there. Blair Holloman, you are right, Russ. He was 3rd in the points. He was about 4 points off of Alex. Now, Blair, again, finishing in your 6th place, only 2 positions ahead of Alex. So we'll have to see how the laps led, but even if he led a single lap, that is only going to put him 1 point off of Alex if Alex did not lead a lap. So you will have Andrew Teff, Alex Teff, and Blair Holloman are going to be your 1, 2, and 3 there in points in season 6. Wow, what a fantastic finish. We are going to see if we can drag some of these drivers up here to our waiting room. Mike in the chat saying, way to go, Brandon. I will tell you, Mike, Brandon really put on a fantastic show all the way throughout this night in this 12 truck. He was, I would go back and look at it, but I do believe he led more laps than anybody else. This was a fantastic statement for him to get himself ready for next season.
Yeah, this win from Brandon, I feel like was long overdue. He had a lot of really strong runs throughout this season, and came up short every one of those times. Finally picking up that win. I feel like this was well overdue.
All right, let's see if we can pull your second place driver up here for the race in Sean Dunaway. We're just going to move him right here into the booth. Sean, this is John and Russ in the booth. You got a copy?
Yep, I got you.
Well, man, we have talked several times so far this season. We are done now, my friend, with this season here in the trucks. But what a fantastic job by you, not only tonight picking up a second place finish, but this entire season. So walk me through your season as we conclude this thing and what you can expect here in season 7. Are you just going to be in the trucks, or can we see you in other cars?
Yeah, you'll see me in the trucks in the Xfinity series for sure. Yeah, look back on the trucks. I think we did have a lot of good, top fives, top tens early on. Definitely enough to be in the playoffs at the end there. But yeah, something about the once we actually got to the playoffs kind of fell off for sure. Just bad places, bad timing. I remember a lot of cautions just coming out right at the wrong time, of course. So, but yeah, hopefully next season, you'll see me up front a bit more. Hopefully a lot more top fives there for sure. Don't think I got to win this season in the truck, so would definitely like to see that win for
season. Been a blast for covering you. We're not going to be calling this next season, as Russ is going to join you out there on the track. And then I'll probably just be moving on to running some next gen. But we certainly have appreciated watching you this season, calling your races. Congratulations to you on a fantastic finish tonight. Really look forward to seeing what you can do next season. We'll turn it over to you here, Sean, and let you give your shout outs.
Yeah, for sure. I'd like to thank my wife, my mom and stepdad for always watching, and then of course my cats for always trying to ruin my race.
All right, thanks, Sean.
Alrighty, thanks guys. Bye.
All right, so there you go. There is your second place driver. We do have Brandon in our waiting room, Russell. I will pull him up, sir, and let you conduct the interview. Brandon, this is John and Russ. You got a copy in the booth here.
Hey, I do, guys.
Hey, man. I said at the end of this thing, it's kind of been a well overdue win for you this year in the Truck Series. You've been strong in quite a few of these races, and something has just kind of not gone your way to be able to lock up a win. But you got one here tonight, my friend. Take us back through your race, and tell us what went through your mind through that whole thing.
Yeah, I think my mind through the whole thing was just I got to get this monkey off my back. So, green to green, which is great. It's almost expected in this league now. Such good races, but it definitely made for a tired one. I'm sweating pretty bad after that, but a lot of fun. My biggest debate was when am I going to take two tires? So I waited until the final stop just to take two right sides, and it paid off. The only thing was I was loose entering into 3, and I don't know if Dunaway realized that or not. It looked like he was getting right on my rear spoiler to try to get me extra loose, so I just lifted a hair going in to try to alleviate that. But yeah, awesome race at the end. Just back and forth battle, and I think that's just what everybody really wants. So it was fun.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's that last race of the season. You really want to get that one, like you said, get that monkey off your back. Like I said, it's kind of like a well overdue win for you. But you had a pretty solid season. I mean, I think you're going to end up P4 in points overall. So walk us back through your whole season, and tell us what you what you expected coming in to where the season has ended and what you're looking forward to for next season.
Yeah, I wasn't here the season before. I obviously raced before, took a season off, season prior. So coming back, just get reaffiliated, especially with new drivers and things like that. Just get back in the groove. And seems like every year I lock it in during playoffs. A little extra focus, and then those first two playoff races, I felt like I was in a good position to win, and then I just got bit by a terrible time caution that put me a lap down each of those races. So, at that point, you're just like, man, what else do I got to do? You just want that monkey off your back. So, it just felt good this whole race, knowing that I had a chance to do that and was able to pull it off. So,
Yeah, for sure. Going into next season, we're gonna see you back in the trucks. You gonna run anything other than the trucks, or
yeah, I'm going to be in the trucks. I think after next season, and maybe halfway through or something, maybe I'll join. I'm in the process of moving coming up shortly, so I don't want to get bogged down in too many seasons because then I'll just have to miss races and stuff like that. But definitely trucks next season, and then moving forward doing next gen and or Xfinity too.
right on? Well, next season, like we're not calling this thing. I'm actually gonna be joining in the truck series and getting my ass whipped by every single one of you guys out there. You know how it was in the other league, but really looking forward to joining you guys and having some fun with everybody. So, and congratulations on a stellar season, and on the win tonight. We'll go ahead and we'll turn it over to you and let you give your shout outs for the season, my friend.
I appreciate it, Russ. Good to hear you racing with us next season. Looking forward to that.
Yeah,
And
man.
of course, you and John in the booth just doing an amazing job. It is so much fun going back and watching your broadcast. Such a good cover, just about everything. Very knowledgeable. So that's just been such a plus to the league as well. And I got a lot of faithful followers who watch this too. And I think before, on top of winning, I think first comes we want to put on a good show for them. So hope we did that. Big shout out to my parents, girlfriend Lindsay, cousin John, Mr. Pangborn who watches. Trying to think who else. My Aunt Frostine. Got a whole group of them that tune in every week and watch the races. So appreciate all you guys that support us.
Yeah, you definitely had some fans out there tonight. And we had somebody chime in there at the very end and say, "Way to go!" And so, yeah, man. Once again, heck of a season. Congrats on that. Congrats on the win tonight, bud. And look forward to racing with you next season. Hopefully, I don't take you out
Uh,
or anything.
hey, that's all right. Join the party.
All right, but thanks.
All right, so there is your winner. But now, not only do we have the winner for tonight, congratulations there to Brandon, but we are going to call up your championship driver. We're going to see if we can bring him to the booth. And Andrew, this is John and Russ in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, man, so I will tell you, as we have been able to watch you, first of all, we want to say congratulations. I know we talked about a little bit to Brandon about getting the monkey off his back, but man, talk about a monkey on your back for all of these seasons here. You're able to do that. You got a lot of work to do still left throughout this week in the Xfinity and the next gen, but man, congratulations on a championship here in the trucks. I think we really spent a lot of time talking about East Driver tonight. One of the things that we nailed with you is we just really feel like your growth in not only we've always known you can save fuel and you were great on tires, but man, your short track this year and your overall jump off speed in the first 10 to 20 laps of a run has really progressed. Walk me through your season. Talk to me about how you felt like it went, and really congratulations on a great championship.
Yeah, thanks. It's nice to finally get that monkey off my back, like you were saying. It was 0 for 15 going into this. These guys are tough, so it means a lot to finally pull one off. This season, I kind of had a lot of things just go my way, and in these races, they're so close, they're so competitive with the fixed setups and the way the strategies play out that the simplest mistake will cost you the race usually. A lot of them go green, so you're typically not going to get that yellow to help you catch back up. it could be pretty cutthroat. So I've done well in a lot of these seasons, and it's come down to the last 4 or 5 races, and if you mess up one of them, really, a lot of the times you've just given up your shot right there. So fortunately, I was able to have 4 decent finishes, and maybe 1 or 2. I've kind of lost track, but yeah, just thankful to everybody on the track that shows up and races clean and makes this league what it is.
Yeah, and I can tell you there's a different feel sometimes when you say, I was able to stay out of trouble, and it's just like you said, these races run long. Sometimes you'll have green flag. Most of the time you're going to have green flag pit stop. So being able to nail that entry exit, the pit strategy being on point when you're in plate races like this, being able to make sure that you come down with people you can trust and get out. All of those things really amplify themselves as maybe the driver count starts to diminish a little bit toward the end. But so sometimes drivers find themselves in lucky situations. And I can tell you, just watching you throughout this truck season, these were not, lucky scenarios. These were Andrew Teft really putting on some dominant performances in some of these short track races and putting your stamp on this championship as the best truck driver for this season. So again, congratulations on what you were able to do. As we switch gears a little bit, as the owner here of Racers Elite, such fantastic things going on. What you're going to do here in season 7, not only with the trucks, but with all of the the series, and then we really have something going on every single week or every single day. I can't believe you can handle all of that. You've also started your own network this season. Just walk me through how that has been with as an owner.
Yeah, it's something we kind of took on out of necessity. The community really needs more broadcasters and race controllers to help these leagues operate. Very thankful to Chantel and Matthew and all the broadcasters on our team for the teamwork and everything that it takes to go into this. Sorry, I kind of went on a tangent there. What else were you asking?
No, and as an owner, you even have the league versus league kind of challenges that are going on. So I guess the overall question is, how hard is it really to split that time between being a driver, sitting in that car, and then being an owner? I mean, that really has to tug at you, as you have to kind of try to navigate through both of those things.
Yeah, it's a fine line. Try to lead by example as best I can. I'm still human, but yeah, I'm just super proud of everybody out there and what this league has become, and the broadcast team really got us off the ground this season. We've got, I think, around 120 followers, so if you guys will hit that subscribe button, I appreciate it. But it just all goes back to a team effort. The broadcasters, the race controllers, the fans, everybody that watches and shows up to race, and got a community of about 450 people now, and everybody has put something into it in some way. And yeah, all I can say is I'm thankful for it.
Yeah, and it really is an amazing community, and we've talked about it several times on the broadcast, every single broadcast that we have here at Racers Elite Network. If you want to be a part of this, you just simply got to find us on Facebook. That's really easy to do at Racers Elite. And then if you want to find us on anywhere that you want to find it, you can find Andrew. He is always there for you. We are always running. You can send us messages here. We will get a hold of you. Russ and I won't be calling the trucks next season, but I got to tell you, just from me and Russ tonight, thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to be in the booth this season. We certainly appreciate it. And man, congratulations on a great season.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys on the track some more. Russ is going to be out there with us next season in the truck, so that'll be fun.
Yep. All right. Thanks.
Yeah, hopefully
Andrew.
I don't come out and kill everybody. It's been a minute. I'm going to put some time into the truck since I ran them. So I'm sure I'll be a back marker for a while until I get into the comfort zone. But man, it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, just 2 weeks away, the new season, leading off with Talladega. We've got 5 flags on the schedule for the first time. You can find all the info right on racerselite.com if you want to sign up. You can get in touch with me on Discord, find a Discord invite on our website, racerselite.com. Just shoot me a message. I'll get you all set up.
All right. Thank you, Andrew. And again, congratulations on a fantastic season. Way to get that monkey off your back. And you still have a ton of work to do because we have Xfinity tomorrow and you've got the next gen going to Darlington. So still some work to do this season.
Yeah, got a shot at tomorrow. I've got to hold Truth off. He's been on a bit of a hot streak, so that's not as easy as it sounds. If a 2-point buffer is really just 2 spots on the track, depending on bonus points, or probably really gonna have to win the race, either of us, to really feel confident about it. But Thursday I got a long shot, so yeah, just again thankful, and I want to thank our servicemen and women, my family, for letting us put the time in, and you guys for putting in all this effort in the broadcast booth this season.
Yep, we certainly appreciate it, and we'll let you get
A lot of
back
fun,
and celebrate with your team on a fantastic championship win here. You might have been 0 for 15 before you come in, but you've got one under your belt now, and no one can take
No
that
more
away
good
from
steak.
you.
I was feeling like Denny Hamlin. Sometimes I go downstairs after these and I finish second. And my family calls me Sheldon Creed. So.
Oh, that's tough. That's tough. All right,
They've
congratulations.
been pushing me.
Thanks, Andrew.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
All right, so Russ, there you have it, man. I mean, listen, the season might be over, but my goodness, what a great season it was. Andrew Teff coming out your champion. Brandon picking up a fantastic win tonight. Man, what else can we say but thank you for letting us call it, and man, I'll let you give the last word before we say goodnight.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, I never thought I would get into broadcasting. Kind of really took me out of my comfort zone. So, again, thanks you for asking me to do this with you. It's been a lot of fun. Thanks for Andrew for taking the risk on us to come in and do this. It really has been a great season. It's been a lot of fun. Saw some really good, hard battles all season long. And, what more can you say about Andrew? He put on a hell of a performance this season. Winning, having 4 wins on the season. That's the most wins out of everybody. Just a truly dominating performance this year. So again, congratulations to him, and congratulations to Alex and Blair on the top 3 finishes and points. And yeah, man, looking forward to getting out here and ruffling it up with these guys next season. It's going to be a lot of fun. And thank you to everybody that's tuned in to the Racers Elite Network and listen to me and John tap our gums for an hour to an hour and a half, 2 nights a week. It's really humbling, and we thank everybody for tuning in each and every week while we do this. So thank you all, everybody, and hopefully we'll see you guys tomorrow night for the Xfinity Championship race. It'll be a lot of fun.